Hello Year 3, it's Mr. Howell here for another maths lesson. Today's date is the 26th of the 1st, 21, and our learning objective is to divide two-digit numbers using long division. You might need to revisit the video that Miss Wilkinson did on Friday for using our method of long division. And we're going to revisit that in the questions that we're going to be looking at for today. Our in focus question then is that Sam and Charles share 68 sweets equally among themselves. How many sweets will each person get? So I want you to pause the video and I want you to see if you can answer that question using that long division method, just to have a quick practice with it. Let's have a look and see if you got the same answer that I'm going to get. We're going to look at this method here. So I've already set up my bus stop method that Miss Wilkinson was talking about, and I've put my number inside the bus stop, which is the number that I want to divide, and then on the outside I've put my divisor, the number that I'm dividing it by. If I need to, I can write out my 2 times tables just to help me, because remember that this is our times table that we need to look at for the answer. I know that 10 times 2 is equal to 20. So I'm going to write 20 here to start off, and I know that that is going to be 10 times 2. And I also know that I need to remember to circle that 10. If I take that away, I'm going to do 8 take away 0 is 8. Oh, must remember to draw my line. And 6 take away 2 is 4, so that leaves me with 48. Now I know that I am able to devise another lot of 10 times 2, so I'm going to take another 20 off. So with this, what you might find is once you get a bit more confident, you might recognize maybe a slightly bigger number that you would be able to remove, but it's absolutely fine to just do a little bit at a time as well and get used to this method because we haven't used it before. So 8 take away 0 is going to leave me with 8 again, and here 4 take away 2 is going to leave me with 2, so I've got 28 left. So in actual fact, I can repeat that again, and I can take another 20 off, which is going to leave me with another 10 lot of 2. And that is going to leave me with an answer of 8. Here, if I think about how many 2's there are in 8, I think the answer is 4. So 4 times 2 equals 8. So once I've done that, I can then take this 8 off, and then I finally got to my 0 when I take that number away. So what I need to do now is I need to remember to add all of these numbers that I've circled together to get my answer. So I've got 10, 20, 30, 4. And then just to make sure I can see where my answer is, I'm going to write it on top of that bus stop. So the answer to 68 divided by 2 is equal to 34. We have a look at this in a slightly neater way, and you can see how we got that calculation. So you can see that we have managed to think about our 2 times table, and remember it's our 2 times table that we're looking at because it's this number that we're dividing by. So in order to work out how many groups of 2 there are, we're doing it step by step, and we're working out how many groups of 2 there are, and then we're adding those groups together to get our final answer. So we've chunked off all of these different amounts of 2 times 10, and then it's finally got us down to 8, which we've known is 2 times 4. I've also here remembered to circle this number, and that's really important that we circle the correct number in that calculation. You'll notice that I haven't circled any of these 2's because this is showing me that it is my 2 times table. So this relates to this bit here. And that means that I'm not going to make any mistakes when I come to working out my answer, because my answer is going to be all of these numbers that are circled added together to get this number, which is going to go above my bus stop. So 10, 20, 30 and 4 equals 34. So that's really important step to make sure that you are dividing or multiplying, as the case may be with this method, by the right number. So in this case, the number in purple, which is 2, and also thinking about circling the right number so that when I come to add my answer up, I get the right answer. So for that question, it was quite simple. We were able to think about my 2 times table, and we were able to answer that question quite easily. This one is slightly different. We're going to see if we can use the same method for this one, and this is that a shopkeeper has 52 ice creams. She packs them equally into 4 boxes. How many ice creams are there in each box? So I want you again to pause the video and see if you can answer this question using that same method, whether you get the same answer that I'm about to reveal. Looking at this one then, we've got our divisor of 4. So if I chunk 10 times 4, that gives me an answer of 40, which I will then be left with 12. And I know that 12 is in my 4 times table as well, and that is 3 times 4. So I can then chunk that amount off as well, which leaves me with 0. If I then add 10 and 3 together, it gives me 13. So although when we look at this question, it might look a little bit more difficult because 52 and 4, they don't look like they should go together. There's no obvious signs of any multiplication that we can do. Just by using the chunking method, we can recognize that pattern of our 4 times table. So we're going to have a look at some guided practice questions, and then you are going to answer some questions on your assignment on Teams. You've got 3 questions here then. You've got 46 divided by 2, 63 divided by 3, 88 divided by 4, and then also just attached to that extra one, a sneaky one, which is 88 divided by 8. I'm going to show you the first one together, and then I want you to see if you can answer the other questions on your own. With this one then, I'm going to identify what times table I'm going to use first. So I know that I'm using my 2 times table, and that's going to help me to make sure that I don't get that calculation wrong with writing down the wrong number. And I know that I'm going to be able to chunk 20, which is 10 times 2. So here next to it, I'm going to write 10 times 2. And then I can circle that, and that is the digit that I'm then going to take away. And 6 take away 0 is 6. 4 take away 2 is 2. Lovely. So the next one that I'm going to do, I'm just looking at this and I've made a mistake, haven't I? Oh, I wonder if you can spot the mistake that I've made. That's right, I've circled the wrong number there, haven't I? So it's really important each time I circle a number, or when I've taken a number away, that I just check my calculation, because the further down this calculation I go, I might not have a chance to double check that. So it's always good just to double check that as you're going. So I'm happy now I've circled the right number, and I'm left with 26. So again, I'm going to be able to chunk another 26 off. Not 26, 20, and that's going to be 10 times 2. I'm sure you've probably already worked out the answer. If we've got 6 take away 0, that gives me 6. 2 take away 2 is 0. So I've now left with 6, which I know is 3 times 2. And again, I need to remember to circle the correct digit, and that then gives me an answer of 6. Make sure I draw my line in, and then if I take it away, I end up with 0. So what I need to do now is I now need to go back and add my answers together. Now remember, this is where I'm making sure that that's why it's really important I circle the correct number. So 10, 23. And what is really important as well is that I do check each answer, because as you've just seen there, when you finish the answer, once you get to this 0, all you want to do then is add these numbers up. You're not always going to have time to check those answers again. So that hopefully will be the answer that you've got. I'm sure that you probably got there a little bit before me, but I want you to answer the rest of your guided practice questions now and do those before you go on to the questions on your assignment on Teams, just to get a little bit of practice and using that method. I know it might feel a little bit like repetition, but use that method and help use that method lots so that you're practicing it and learning it. So let's just go through these answers very quickly. Hopefully you should have completed them, and if you haven't, pause the video now and double check your answers in a moment. So 46 divided by 2, we've already worked out that that was 23. This next one, 63 divided by 3, hopefully you got the answer of 21. 88 divided by 4, hopefully you got the answer of 22. And this last one, 88 divided by 8, hopefully you got 11. And you might notice that there's a little bit of a pattern here with these two questions, because 88 divided by 4 gives us 22, and 88 divided by 8 gives us 11. Now if we look at the number that we're dividing by, 4 and 8, you should hopefully be able to recognize that 8 is twice the number of 4, and therefore if we're dividing into 4 more groups, we're going to have half the amount. I wonder how many of you were able to spot that. So what I want you to do now is I want you to go and answer the questions on Teams, and part of those questions is going to be 2 challenge questions at the end, which we're going to look at very quickly now, but they are included on your assignment on Teams. So Mrs. Thomas has made some mistakes, and we want to see if you can correct them and also explain where she has gone wrong for each of those questions. So if we have a look, we can see that we've got the question of 96 divided by 3, and you can see this calculation here. This will also be on Teams, so you're able to have a look at the question whilst you're working out the answer and looking at where she's gone wrong. I'm not going to say any more than that. We'll go through this in tomorrow's lesson, but there are some mistakes here, and I can say with a lot of confidence that the answer is not quite right. So I want you to see if you can explain to me what the answer is and why or how you've managed to work out that answer. And then the second one here is 84 divided by 6. This one's a little bit trickier to spot the mistake, I think, but I want you to see if you can have a go. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget that you can email any work that you do in your home learning book, for example, or on paper, and our email address is year3@ssjs.co.uk. Also, if you're having any problems with accessing any of the resources, please do get in touch and we'll do our best to try and resolve those for you as quickly as we can. I look forward to seeing all of your answers for this work, and please practice that long division method. If you need to write it out, please do. And we'll do another maths video lesson tomorrow. Bye bye, Year 3.